You've sung these songs for decades. You played them on vinyl, heard them on AM radio, turned them up in your car. But what if I told you? Some of the biggest hits of the 1970s weren't originals at all. Number 10. Hush, Deep Purple. When most people hear Hush, they think of Deep Purple's thunderous organ and driving guitar, that Hammond organ, that groove, that unmistakable late 60s rock energy. The song reached number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100, becoming Deep Purple's breakthrough in America. But they didn't write it. Hush was originally written and recorded in 1967 by Joe South, a respected Nashville songwriter who would later win Grammy Awards for Games People Play. His version had a southern rock feel. It was solid, but it didn't explode nationally. Then a young British band trying to break into the US market heard it. Deep Purple stripped it down, amped it up, and let John Lord's Hammond organ take center stage. Ritchie Blackmore added sharper guitar edges. The energy was bigger, heavier, more urgent, and suddenly, it was a hit. Ironically, by the time Deep Purple became known for Smoke on the Water, most fans had no idea their first major success was someone else's song. One rewrite, one louder arrangement, one cover that opened the door to rock history. Number 9. Dancing in the Moonlight, King Harvest, 1973.
Almost every night.
This is one of the happiest songs of the entire decade. Warm, easy, perfect for a summer night with the windows down. In 1973, Dancing in the Moonlight climbed to number 13 on the Billboard Hot 100, becoming an AM radio staple. But King Harvest didn't write it. The song was written in 1970 by Sherman Kelly while he was recovering from a violent assault he experienced in the Caribbean. Out of something dark, he imagined something beautiful, a place where everybody's dancing in the moonlight, where everything feels safe, peaceful, joyful. Kelly first recorded it with his earlier band, Bafalongo, in 1970. That version went nowhere. The band broke up. 2 years later, Kelly joined King Harvest, and they decided to try the song again. This time, it worked. The smoother production, the relaxed groove, that gentle organ line. It became one of those songs that feels like it's always existed. And most people who bought the record in 1973 had no idea it was actually a second attempt. Sometimes the right song just needs the right moment. One dark beginning, one brighter rewrite, one cover that became pure 70s sunshine. Number 8. Black Magic Woman, Santana, 1970. When that opening riff starts, you know exactly what's coming. Sultry, hypnotic, Latin percussion wrapping around that unforgettable guitar line, Santana's 1970 version of Black Magic Woman reached number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100 and became one of their defining songs. But Santana didn't write it. The song was originally written and recorded in 1968 by Fleetwood Mac, back when the band was still led by blues guitarist Peter Green. Their version was raw, blues-driven, and straightforward. It even charted modestly in the UK, but it wasn't a global phenomenon.
Don't turn your back on me, baby.
Then Carlos Santana heard it. He slowed it down, added Latin rhythms, layered percussion, and blended it seamlessly into Gypsy Queen. The result wasn't just a cover, it was a transformation. Santana turned a British blues track into a Latin rock masterpiece that defined the early 70s sound. To this day, most people assume Black Magic Woman is a Santana original. Few realize it began as a completely different kind of song. One riff, one new rhythm, one reinvention that changed its destiny. Number 7. Killing Me Softly with His Song, Roberta Flack, 1973. Few songs feel as intimate as this one. Soft piano, gentle rhythm, a voice that sounds like it's telling you a secret. In 1973, Killing Me Softly with His Song spent 5 weeks at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and won Record of the Year and Song of the Year at the Grammys, but Roberta Flack wasn't the first to record it.
My whole life with
The song was originally performed in 1971 by folk singer Lori Lieberman. Inspired by seeing Don McLean in concert, Lieberman wrote a poem about how deeply his music moved her. Songwriters Charles Fox and Norman Gimbel turned that poem into a song. Her version was delicate and folk-oriented. It barely made a ripple. Then, 2 years later, Roberta Flack heard it on an airplane. She knew instantly. She slowed it down, deepened the mood, wrapped it in soul. Her interpretation transformed it from a quiet folk tune into one of the defining ballads of the 1970s. For millions of listeners, this wasn't a cover. It was the version, one poem, one reinvention, one voice that changed everything. Number 6, Me and Bobby McGee, Janis Joplin, 1971. For many people, this is Janis Joplin, free-spirited, raw, heartbreaking. Released in 1971 after her death, Me and Bobby McGee became her only #1 hit, turning into a posthumous triumph that sealed her legend. But she didn't write it. The song was written by Chris Christopherson and first recorded in 1969 by country star Roger Miller. That original version? Pure country storytelling, respectable. Well-crafted, but not explosive. When Janis recorded it in 1970, just days before her death, she transformed it. She changed the perspective, injected vulnerability, poured every ounce of emotion into the chorus.
Freedom's just another word for nothing left.
Freedom's just another word. In her voice, it wasn't just a lyric. It felt lived. The album Pearl was released in January 1971, and the song soared to the top of the charts. For many listeners, the earlier versions disappeared entirely. One songwriter, one country original, one unforgettable voice that made it immortal. Number 5, Blinded by the Light, Manfred Mann's Earth Band, 1976. This one surprises almost everyone. In 1977, Blinded by the Light hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, a sprawling 7-minute progressive rock epic filled with swirling keyboards and dramatic shifts. But it wasn't written by Manfred Mann. It was written by Bruce Springsteen. Springsteen originally released it in 1973 as the opening track on his debut album Greetings from Asbury Park, NJ. His version was wordy, fast, and distinctly Jersey, but it didn't chart. Columbia Records had even told him he needed a potential single, so he wrote one. It just didn't take off. 3 years later, Manfred Mann's Earth Band reimagined it completely. They slowed sections down, expanded it into prog rock territory, added that famous chopsticks piano break, and of course, they slightly altered the lyric "cut loose like a deuce" into "revved up like a deuce," a line that millions of listeners misheard for decades. The result? Springsteen earned his first and only #1 hit as a songwriter, not as a performer. One overlooked original, one radical reinvention, one cover that eclipsed its creator. Number 4, Without You, Harry Nilsson, 1972. This is one of the most powerful ballads of the 1970s, big, orchestral, emotionally overwhelming. In 1972, Without You soared to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, staying there for 4 weeks. It also topped charts in the UK, Australia, and several other countries. But Harry Nilsson didn't write it. The song was originally written and recorded in 1970 by Badfinger, specifically by band members Pete Ham and Tom Evans. Their version was simpler, more restrained. It appeared on their album No Dice, and while respected, it never became a global anthem. The story gets even more surprising. Nilsson first heard the song at a party and assumed it was a Beatles track. When he discovered it was by Badfinger, he immediately knew he wanted to record it. Originally, he planned to keep it minimal, just piano and voice. But producer Richard Perry convinced him to go big. And big it became: sweeping strings, dramatic build-ups, Nilsson's soaring high notes that feel like emotional release. The transformation turned a strong rock ballad into a towering pop classic. Tragically, both Pete Ham and Tom Evans would later die by suicide, casting a shadow over the song's legacy. One overlooked original, one orchestral reinvention, one cover that became definitive. Number 3, I Fought the Law, The Clash, 1979. Most people associate this song with punk, fast, defiant, anti-authority. When The Clash released their version in 1979, it became one of their most recognizable tracks, raw and rebellious, perfectly capturing the mood of the late 70s. But this song had already lived 2 lives before punk ever touched it. It was originally written in 1960 by Sonny Curtis of the Crickets. Yes, the same Crickets who had backed Buddy Holly. Their version went largely unnoticed. Then in 1966, the Bobby Fuller 4 recorded it and took it to number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100. That garage rock version gave the song its first real success. But by the time The Clash found it, the tone changed completely. They didn't just play it, they weaponized it. The line, I fought the law and the law won, took on a different meaning in the late 70s. Less rockabilly heartbreak, more social frustration, same lyrics, different decade, completely different energy, 3 eras, 3 genres, one song that kept reinventing itself. Number 2, I Love Rock and Roll, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, 1981-1982 breakthrough. For many people, this song is Joan Jett, leather jacket, black guitar, MTV on repeat. Her version spent 7 weeks at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1982, becoming one of the defining rock anthems of the era, but she didn't write it. The song was originally recorded in 1975 by a British glam rock band called The Arrows. Their version had a glam feel, catchy, fun, very mid-70s UK. It charted modestly in Britain and barely made a ripple elsewhere. Joan Jett first heard it while touring England with the Runaways in 1976. She loved it instantly. Years later, after forming Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, she recorded her own version. She stripped away some of the glam polish, made it rawer, harder, more aggressive. And when MTV launched, the black and white video of Jett performing in a smoky bar helped turn it into a cultural moment. By the early 80s, most listeners assumed she had written it. Even today, many still do. One overlooked glam single, one punk-infused reinvention, one cover that became an anthem. Number 1, Evil Woman, Black Sabbath, 1970. Before they became the godfathers of heavy metal, before Paranoid, before Iron Man, before War Pigs, Black Sabbath's first single was a cover. Evil Woman was originally recorded in 1969 by an American rock band called Crow. Crow's version had horns, a blues rock groove, a late 60s hard rock feel. It did reasonably well in some markets, but it wasn't revolutionary. Then a young British band, who had just changed their name from Earth to Black Sabbath, decided to record it. They removed the horns, darkened the mood, let Tony Iommi's crushing guitar tone take control, added Ozzy Osbourne's eerie vocal presence. Suddenly, the song felt heavier, ominous, dangerous. It pointed toward something new, something darker. Interestingly, the track appeared on the UK pressing of their 1970 debut album, but was replaced on the US version by their original song, Wicked World. That means many American fans don't even realize it exists. Most metal fans assume Black Sabbath burst onto the scene fully formed, but even legends have beginnings. And in this case, that beginning was someone else's song. One blues rock original, one heavier transformation, one cover that bridged the gap between blues and the birth of heavy metal. The 1970s were filled with reinventions. Artists didn't just perform songs, they reshaped them. Sometimes it was better production. Sometimes it was the right voice. Sometimes it was simply perfect timing. And sometimes, the cover became so iconic that we forgot there was ever an original. Which one surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe.